Tonight at 5, encampment explosion.
We don't mind them being around, just respect the people that live around you,
Our 360 coverage of the homeless crisis continues with a closer look at this tent city just steps from the A-line. Hazard or harmless?
They have been by here many times before the fire happened. And if they seen it unsafe, they should have moved us out before.
Plus, a Marine says police tased him while he was caring for his daughter in the ICU. Tonight, shocking video as the Marine prepares for a court date. And Denver lays out its plan to reopen safely over the next few months.
We're definitely in a delicate situation right now.
The COVID rules will be under local control starting Friday. Tonight, we have a much clearer picture of what it will look like across the Front Range.
For most county, it means more freedom with some limits on capacity, requests for social distancing. The lone exception, Douglas County. Starting Friday, the only restrictions are a 500-person capacity limit on indoor events and the governor's statewide mask mandate, which could expire in early May.
And tonight, Denver7's Jason Grenauer is breaking down the new rules in Denver and how they compare to Dougco.
100% capacity at restaurants and gyms and no mask required outside. Those are the biggest of the changes Mayor Hancock announced as Denver will move to what is basically level blue on the state's dial when the state's dial expires on Friday. Some of the things to keep in mind: there will still be a 6-foot social distancing requirement, so that may impact the actual capacity allowed at some gyms and restaurants. And the mask mandate is still in effect indoors. Now again, this is going to go into effect on Friday and last at least 30 days. Good news for many, but coming at a time when case numbers in Denver are on the rise. Here's what the mayor had to say about that.
Recognizing that this city has to be open for business, but we also got to keep people safe. I think the difference here, as opposed to last year this time or even this past fall, is we have the vaccine.
Denver moving to level blue with some tweaks is similar to what's happening Friday in most nearby counties, except for Douglas. Dougco commissioners voted recently to basically drop all restrictions, and Denver health officials were asked about that.
I think it's risky. It's a risky move to do that. I think it's a little too soon, and we're certainly not going to do it here in Denver.
The ultimate goal is to move Denver to a green level and drop more restrictions, but McDonald says that will all depend on vaccinations. 41% of Denverites have gotten at least one vaccine. In the newsroom, I'm Jason Grenauer, Denver7.
And as of tonight, 2.2 million people across Colorado have received at least one dose of the vaccine. That's almost 40% of the state. Also today, FEMA took over the mass vaccination site at the Colorado State Fairgrounds in Pueblo, which was being run by the state. FEMA is also scaling up operations and plans to nearly double the doses given every day. And thousands of Coloradans are being told to get their vaccines again. The CDC says there were problems at Dr. Moma Health and Wellness Clinic in El Paso County. There was no way to verify if vaccines were being stored correctly. And the CDC reported substandard vaccine preparations and clinic operations in a report released by the state of Colorado. More than 3,000 doses from that facility had to be thrown out.
Today, President Biden explained his decision to withdraw U.S. troops from Afghanistan by September 11th. And that date will mark 20 years since the attacks on the Pentagon and World Trade Center. The president said today it no longer serves our best interests to keep boots on the ground in Afghanistan, despite concerns that we may lose some leverage over the Taliban.
I'm now the 4th United States president to preside over American troop presence in Afghanistan. 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats. I will not pass this responsibility on to a 5th.
President Biden says the U.S. will continue diplomatic and humanitarian efforts. In a statement, the Afghani president said he spoke with Biden and respects the U.S. decision.
A Marine veteran is suing the Colorado Springs Police Department and Teller County Sheriff's Office over an arrest they made in his 19-month-old daughter's room in the ICU.
Carl Anderson's pregnant fiancée accidentally ran over their daughter 2 years ago. The little girl was taken to a Colorado Springs hospital. She ultimately survived, and hours after she arrived, 4 members of law enforcement showed up looking to confiscate the fiancé's cell phone as evidence in a potential child abuse investigation, and Anderson refused, and that led to a confrontation. And we have to warn you, this video is hard to watch.
Excuse me? So I'm going to go behind you because I don't want anybody behind you getting hurt. Okay. Nobody behind you.
Hold on, it's gentlemen. Gentlemen. Give me the cell phone.
Get out of the room. Get out of the room. Get out of the room.
Officers charged Anderson with obstruction. That was thrown out. He's now suing for damages connected to this arrest. CSPD and the Teller County Sheriff's Office are not commenting.
These 5 could be responsible for 7 bank robberies since January 27th. Colorado Springs police arrested them this weekend. They released these pictures today. Springs police told Denver7 they do not know if this group is connected to any robberies here in the Denver metro.
This man is convicted serial rapist and likely to spend the rest of his life in prison. On Tuesday, a judge in Jefferson County sentenced Darrell Wall to 24 years to life. A Lakewood police investigation revealed at least 5 women who say they were sexually assaulted by Wall. Most of those women were homeless. They say Wall offered them shelter for the night in his RV before the attacks. In a statement, the deputy DA for Jeffco said, quote, "Thanks to the bravery and resilience of these women, we were able to ensure that Wall cannot continue to exploit the most vulnerable."
Congressional Democrats, including Denver's Diana DeGette, introduced new gun control legislation on Capitol Hill today. The Keep Americans Safe Act would ban high-capacity magazines, anything that holds more than 10 rounds. Those magazines were used in several of our country's deadliest mass shootings. A weekend fire at a Denver homeless camp is reigniting the 360 debate about how to handle the homeless crisis on the Front Range.
The propane-fueled fire was at a homeless camp in an industrial area near the A-line. The city cleaned up the camp, citing safety. While homeless advocates say they are now less safe because of this move. Denver7's Lance Hernandez has our 360 follow-up.
Homeless residents say the fire started in a camper trailer. It spread quickly, fueled by some 20-pound propane tanks, coming perilously close to a lot full of industrial-sized propane tanks.
It was a propane storage area where a propane company stored tons of propane. And when I say tons, I mean literally tons of propane, which would have taken out multiple city blocks.
Denver Safety Director Murphy Robinson says it was luck that no one lost their life.
I'd just gotten off of work, man, and my cousin tells me the power was out. Power lines got burnt down.
Neighbor Eric Darvin Martinez says it's not the first fire happening here. He captured this video of an RV fire a few weeks prior. He says he feels for the homeless.
We don't mind them being around, you know, just respect the people that live around you, you know.
Every day they were starting fires, and we called firefighters, we called the city, we called police.
Luis Carrasco says Saturday's blaze burned past the fence onto his auto recycling yard, torching 2 cars. Sierra Jade among those told to move.
They told us that we had 15 minutes to grab whatever we needed.
The city posting this public safety notice stating some of the propane here is being used to extract hash oil from marijuana plants. It says the fire danger means all items needed to be removed from the area. Denver Fire says the exact cause of the fire is undetermined.
The city is fully capable of responding to those situations and should respond to those situations as you would to any fire at an apartment complex.
Tent resident Sierra Jade says she just wants to find some common ground. She says it's very hard to get out of that homeless cycle when you have to move or replace personal items every month or so. Lance Hernandez, Denver7.
And when we originally started this conversation on Monday, we brought you perspective from Aurora Mayor Mike Kaufman, who wrote in the Denver Post that there are 2 distinct homeless populations in our state, those who use the shelters and those who sleep outside, and that shelter services won't do any good for the part of the population who refuses to use it. All right, it's your turn. We want to hear your opinion on this. Send us an email, 360@thedenverchannel.com.
An April snowstorm on the way. Just how much to expect in Denver.
Plus, an officer is charged for the shooting death of a Minnesota man. His family says it doesn't go far enough.
It is just something I could not fathom.
And a guide to protect the most valuable piece of cardstock in America, your vaccination card.
I'm responsible. I did it. I own it. But then trying to get it replaced has just been a nightmare.